30 seconds till the start of the show.
Where we can dream and let's see if I can guess the key. Our place. We can dream and share it. Our place. You'll find a friend. Who's going to tell me if I'm right about the key?
I am.
You think I'm wrong?
I don't think that's it.
Oh, you're talking about not saying our place, where we can dream and share it. Our place, you'll find a friend to care it.
Oh, you guys have gotten so good at chair dancing.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a lost art form. You're bringing it back. That's awesome. I'm Louise Palenque, your captivating host of Our Place Out Loud. We're the show for teens and about teens and with teens. We've got Co, Keo, Ryan, Maddie. We've got some special guests in the studio today. Jake's in the control booth as per usual. And we've got shout-outs. And in the studio, I don't know if there's a camera for you to see him, but maybe he can get up and like wave in front of a camera, is my brother Craig from New York. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my brother Craig. He is the male version of me. So, did you spill something?
Just like
Was there a lid on it? Uh-oh. What did you bring into the studio that didn't have a lid on it? Because we have a rule about that. All right. I can't control everything. There's a million people in this house. And in the studio, what?
114 people online.
104 people online. Just saw my brother spill something all over my studio. What was it, Craig? Oh. Okay, careful, Teresa, because that was the camera. All right. It's my fault for introducing my brother. But yeah, as a general rule of thumb, we bring things into this room that are capped in a cap, no glasses. In the studio, we also have Laura Swisher. We do have a camera on her. And back in the olden days, in the early days of podcasting, when we used to kind of pal around with Benjamin Franklin and Paul Revere and stuff like that, Laura and I hosted a podcast called Wheezy and the Swish. I was Wheezy and she was the Swish because she is Laura Swisher. So we were one of the first podcasts. In fact, we were on a TV show as podcasters because we were such a rare breed. Yeah. And so you can go to wheezyandtheswish.com because that website has been is kept up by our current webmaster, Joe Pierce. He keeps up Wheezy and the Swish and claims it still gets lots of hits.
I wonder what lots means.
Maybe.
I bet maybe like one a week or something.
Maybe your mom, who I know has as her home screen, she has your website.
Yeah, I bet she's going to that over. Well, now she's on Facebook, so now she sees me on Facebook.
She's on the Facebook.
She gets
Okay.
the updates, yeah.
All right. So be careful. I don't want anyone to get hurt just because of little. No one cried over spilled Coke, right? It was Pepsi. Spilled Coke, yes. So what do we do? So I guess Craig needs another beverage, right? You're fine? Or is he going to be punished and banished from all fluids for the rest of the... Thank you, Teresa. She's the best. She's just the best. Just the greatest person on earth. So we were talking. So if you want to go to Wheezy and the Swish, now some of it may be a little baughty because we would have comedians on the show. It was me and Laura, and we would have a different comedian guest every week. So some of it may be if you want to learn some new words, definitely check it out. And did anyone from who was on Wheezy and the Swish go on to great fame and fortune? Do you recall?
I don't know because I feel like we had a lot of people that were already
famous.
Yeah, I mean she's gone on to greater fame
because of her appearance with us.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what I mean. Like that's what I tell myself.
Do you are you getting a text or did you want to read me something funny from the interweb?
No, I was looking to see if anyone had retweeted the picture of you I just uploaded to my Twitter feed.
Yeah, it was always like when we did Wheezy and the Swish, it was always like that Laura was the popular one. And I was like her sidekick. So she was the Johnny Carson and I was the Ed McMahon. If you get that reference, why are you watching this show? Because you're too old. All right, shout-outs, Ryan?
Yeah. All right, so we have Lorelei, Proud Owl Citizen, Miss Jordan Chris Colfer, Swim Believe PLL, Lauren, Smiley Face, Pie Face, and GK Girl.
Yay, snappity snap to everybody for watching and tuning in. I think we have more viewers than ever in the app. I don't know if anyone screen capped it, but it seemed to be an all-time high of maybe
I'll do that right now.
100 and what?
14.
114, that's an all-time high. people in the app, and they can watch the show live in the app, Laura. So that's what's exciting about that. So we're going to go straight to questions. We have, I wanted to read one off my phone because I'm not sure I put it on the list, but I thought it was fun because our sister, Craig and I have two sisters, and one of them is Joanne, and she has adopted a new puppy. And we went to dinner, I know, and we spent the entire dinner, which was maybe 2.5 hours, discussing potential baby names for the puppy. And that's literally all we talked about. So it's interesting that in the app this week, I got a question from Broadway Dreamer who wrote, I'm thinking of naming my new puppy after a Broadway play/character. It's a girl. I can't use Annie because I got one already. I'm totally lost. So I was not sure of the frame of reference of like a 14-year. You wanted to talk, Craig?
Well, I could make suggestions.
I know you, but can you do it without spilling?
Yes.
All right. Then step over to a microphone. Now, keep in mind that for kids this age, when you say... here's what's cute about this. You're going to enjoy this. Kids, their frame of reference concerning Broadway may be a little bit limited because we got kids going... this is a good one. How about Adelaide or Sarah from Guys and Dolls?
I was thinking Effie from Dreamgirls.
Okay, you have to talk right into the microphone.
Effie from Dreamgirls.
Effie's a good name.
Roxy from Chicago.
That's good.
Dolly from Hello Dolly. But
Right.
That's probably too old-fashioned for you.
Well, I was thinking of Louisa from The Sound of Music. Or Geetle. Or what were their names? Friedel and Geetle. Anyway, somebody wrote, how about Marilyn like Marilyn Monroe? Because she watches Smash, and that's a Broadway show to someone who watches Smash.
What about Sweeney Todd? Is that
Sweeney Todd would be, you want to name someone after a murderous barber?
Yeah.
The
No,
butcher.
what about what's that? The girl who makes the meat pies. What's her name?
I don't know.
From Sweeney Todd. No, that's a good name.
Mrs.
For a girl
Lovett.
puppy.
How about Meat Pie Girl?
Meat pie.
Just
Yeah.
keep it simple.
So someone suggested Nessa from Wicked, and that would be, yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, I knew Craig would be good at that because he's kind of a Broadway expert. Give us a call at 888-531-7171 if you have any puppy name suggestions with a Broadway theme. And we're going to go straight into questions. We have from Anonymous, hey, Wheezy, and this may be the greatest question ever posed on this program. So brace yourselves. Buckle in. Hey, Wheezy. This may seem like a really stupid question, but you know the movie Warm Bodies? How come I feel depressed that a dead zombie can get a girlfriend better than me? I believe I'm a nice guy, but I don't know. Big grin. Maddie?
Well, first of all, best question ever.
Ever.
Yeah. But second thing, it's a movie. Come on. When you look at dating in movies, it's not the same as real life.
Right, but there is...
Dating a zombie in real life totally isn't the same as the movies.
Yeah,
No, it's not. It's not nearly as romantic.
Actually, my friend had a zombie boyfriend, and it was definitely completely different.
You have
than
to change the
movie.
sheets every night. Okay, so let me just say this, though. When you want to be in love, and you're not in love, or you're in love and unrequited love, you can look at any couple and get jealous. It's so easy to just even look at people holding hands and be, infuriated. And so I totally get the question. You want to talk, Sio?
I was just going to say I do that all the time. When Kiyomunte isn't there and people are holding hands, I'm like, I could do that, it's not just a privilege you have.
I totally get it, Rye.
Well, yeah, and then the other part of that is these guys are writing a script for the purpose of media, and they want to sell their stuff. So anything they write is not going to be what you want to base your doings on. And then on top of that, I forgot.
No, but what I was going to say was what I wrote in back in the app was any guy that would write a screenplay about a zombie with a girlfriend doesn't have a girlfriend.
Yeah, that's probably true. And I just remembered what I was going to say, which is about I think I'm a nice guy, but I don't know. You're a nice guy.
You
if
are
you're
a nice guy. Yeah.
And there are a lot of I hate the quote, nice guys finish last, and nice guys don't finish last because anyone finishes last, just depending. I don't think it has to do with whether or not you're a nice guy.
Totally
but
true.
I've seen too many nice guys finish last because people embody that. And it's really I don't know, it's annoying because I see people who are doing I don't know, they're just being helpful, and then it backfires, I guess.
Don't you think that maybe Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks might be the world's nicest guys?
Yeah, that's
and
why I said
are they finishing?
That's why I said it's not everyone. What I'm saying, it does bother me when I see that. That's just my
super
2 cents,
super
but
nice, awesome, creative, productive people finish on top, and that's it.
It pays off in the long run.
It pays off even in the short run because Tom Hanks is probably a billionaire. Not that money is the measure of success, but I mean, Splash is a good movie.
Howard just said yes, it is.
Howard just said yes, it is. Oh, hi, John Maddox. Who's on the phone?
Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer is on.
Hi, Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer. How's your marriage going?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yep. How's he treating you?
Pretty good.
Good. Does he like come out of the shower singing?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends on his mood.
Yeah, depends on his mood. Awesome. All right. Did you have a question or a comment?
It was on the dog's name.
Yes.
Well, my sister and I were singing a bunch of Wicked songs yesterday, so I just thought of like Glinda and or Dorothy because I love the Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah.
Or you can go even more exotic and go Elphaba.
Ooh.
I like that one.
That would be really cool. How about Flying Monkey?
I was gonna say, also, I mean, this might sound a little weird, but like, if you called your dog the Wizard.
Ooh,
like,
that'd be insanely cool.
What's your dog's name?
Ooh.
The Wizard.
The Wizard.
It's not a wizard. It's the
yeah.
wizard.
If your dog has "the" at the beginning of the name, that would be epic.
Or like Toto, like like.
Or Toto, yeah,
the
right.
dog from that's a little cliche though.
You could also just call him Wiz. Just Wiz.
Wiz, yeah.
W-I-Z.
I like that. All right, those are excellent suggestions. Thank you so much for calling, Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer. We have a question from. Oh, give us a call if you would like to be on the show with Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer, just like she was, and offer suggestions and or questions. 888-531-7171. Anonymous writes, any good songs or thoughts I could get stuck in my head? I need something to think about when I feel sad or not confident. So my initial reaction was like, something from The King and I. Whenever I feel afraid, I whistle a happy tune. Anyway. And but I don't think that kids know that song. So other than like Fireworks, what's another good inspirational song? Kyo.
I don't know if it's a song that kids listen to, but my favorite song that I always listen to that makes me feel better is "Move On Up" by Curtis Mayfield.
Nice. You're like the coolest kid in the world. You know that, right? I was thinking of like "Climb Every Mountain." No,
Yeah.
It's pretty inspirational stuff.
It's
right
Raining
there.
Men. Maybe.
Because not only are you going to climb every mountain, you're going to ford every stream.
Yeah,
And that's a lot.
that is a
There's
lot.
a lot of streams. Laura goes, "Can I eat pizza in here?" And I'm like, "No." So, camera on Laura, please.
I asked Teresa, and she said, "Oh no, you can. The adults can."
Teresa trumps me every time.
Until I knew.
It's true the adults can, but I hate to just like you guys
Rub
like
everyone's face
staring
in
at
it?
her hungrily as she eats. That's awesome. Okay, so any inspirational songs that the kids may know of or may have heard of? Oh, whose hand is up? Jakey's hand is up.
I think this is my camera. Yes, I have a camera. Okay. Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles.
Yes.
It makes you happy, and you're like, oh, here comes the sun. Everything's going to be great. And
I
people
love
are clapping
that.
around the room.
Or
Yeah.
may I suggest We Can Fly by the Cows Hills, who are the stars of the film that I directed and produced called Family Band, The Cows Hills Story, now airing on Showtime, soon to be airing on Showtime Women, which is a special Showtime channel for chicks and broads. What? And raise your hand if you get Showtime Women, because I don't get it. Not that I don't understand it, I simply do not receive it. We don't understand women anyway. You need a decoding ring. ALO Lover. Hi, I have Asperger's syndrome, which makes me extremely shy. There's a girl in my class, let's call her Sydney, and she's really nice. I've invited her to my house before, but I can't work up the nerve to talk to her around others at school. Can you help me, please? Well, if the kid is coming over to your house, she likes you. But I know that that socializing is one of the things that's difficult for Asperger's. Does anyone have any suggestions to make this person less shy at school around the girl that he likes?
It is a tough one.
It's tough. I mean, the person that you like will invariably make anybody shy, Asperger's or no Asperger's.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that if you like the person, they're going to make you shy no matter what, and then to have Asperger's on top of that and you say that that's one of the things that gets you makes you really shy. It's just going to be really bad. So what you can do is you can try and find ways that you can talk yourself kind of down in your mind. One of my closest friends, Steven, he has Asperger's, and he's like really outgoing now, but he used to be really shy when he was younger. And it's one of those things that I can't tell you exactly what he did because he hasn't told me, nor do I think he can exactly put it into words. But there's something he does to calm himself down. And if you can find something, whether it's like, there's a previous question, like if there's a song that you really like and listening to that gets you less shy or just gets you in a brighter mood and you can feel more outgoing, then just do whatever it is that can make you feel better. And it doesn't always have to be to end your shyness. It can be to end any feeling that you're having. But what do you think?
Just a thing that I don't know if it actually works, but I watch a lot of videos and I watch a lot of TED Talks. And there was one TED Talk that said that just changing your body, like your body language, can actually affect like your confidence and your like how you feel when you're interacting with people. And it was like saying if you sit a certain way and sit in like a power stance, and like it even said like if you're about to have like an interview or something and you're really nervous, go to the bathroom and do this, because that's what people do when they feel like they're victorious.
Oh, that's pretty cool. What I do like right before I go on stage is I just jump up and down.
Mm-hmm.
I did that.
Yeah.
On someone's head. It's empowering.
It's very, yeah.
My brother Craig has a suggestion. Let's find him a camera and a microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, my male doppelganger, Craig Palanker.
Well, and instead of worrying about what you're going to say, you could just try asking them a simple question about her day or how you doing, something like that, and let her do the talking and just be a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good. Usually people's favorite subject is themselves. So Craig's given an excellent piece of advice right there. Craig, by the way, is from Manhattan, which is in the state of New York. You may have seen it on maps. There's very tall buildings in his neighborhood. He lives a block away from Times Square, where it is permissible to skip down the street humming a show tune. And people will just think you're rehearsing. He's not crazy. He's rehearsing. Sapphire writes, I'm unclear on what the new update will have. Custom background on profile, custom Abby notifications. Is that all? Like, that's not enough for you, Sapphire. There's just no pleasing some people. But Trish and I are here to talk about the update. And I actually am very excited about this update. We want to do a lot with the app, but we have to do it kind of in steps, just, for lots of different reasons. So what we wanted was, we noticed that you guys were really being very creative with your profile. So we wanted you to be able to be increasingly creative with your profile and then share it to Instagram. So it's going to have the capacity for you to like create your own background image, your own avatar, and then share it to Instagram. And by so sharing it, if you whenever you change your profile, there'll be a record of like how you felt about yourself at that age or in that month of that year, so that as you grow up, you'll have kind of a record of your different moods and the things that you liked and what was important to you at 13, 14, 15, etc. And eventually you're going to be able to put all those screen caps and all those saved images in a scrapbook that you'll keep in your bookshelf in the My Place area. So that's what we're building towards with this new feature, and we're excited about it. And then the really cool thing will be push notifications, so that if somebody responds to you, and Trish, is it if you say something in another person's thread and they respond to that, will you still get a push notification? Yes. Okay. So yeah, and I'm not sure if you can turn some of them on or off, but it won't be like you get an email. It'll just be you'll open the app and then you'll know exactly which threads have been responded to, etc. Ryan?
I was going to say, from Trish showing me a couple minutes ago, I'm uber excited, and you guys should get uber excited because it's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been submitted this morning by Silas at Knuckleheads, and we are on our way. It says awaiting App Store approval, and I will let you guys know as soon as it's in review. And usually when it's in review, within a few hours, it gets approved. We are at 888-531-7171. We're here with Laura Swisher. I believe she's finished eating, so we could actually speak with her.
Mm-hmm.
Laura, you grew up where?
I grew up in Tucson,
Arizona.
Mm-hmm. Wait, I have a question, though. If I'm already grown up, but can I still do that thing with the profiles? And just my mood, like last week, like, I'm so angry.
Yeah, there's no age restrictions in our place. It's just that it is for kids 9 and 10 and up, so we need to be age appropriate to that age. But
never mind.
Like, because there is a diary, and lots of adults use the diary. There's my wonderful book that I've written, which is captivating for all ages. Mm-hmm. And there is, of course, if you have wisdom to share with kids, definitely. And like lots of times in Ask Wheezy, I get questions from adults, and if they're not inappropriate, I answer them, and they could have to do with, should I stay with this person? What do I do with, or even from parents, like I'm having trouble communicating with my son, blah, blah, blah. So I'm happy to answer any question that I can.
Do parents ever ask you questions about their kids that are on the on your site? Oh,
yes,
they
do. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, and it's
That's
happened,
weird.
and they'll write it as anonymous so that the kid can't figure out
He
which
doesn't know?
Yeah, which parent has written
Won't
in.
the details kind of like
That's
tip
true.
off the kid?
That's true. But I do want parents to get involved in the app and what I want people to ultimately understand is that everyone has issues, and that it is embarrassing to ask a question if you think you're the only one. But like once you start to realize, like, actually no one's going to tease me, no one's going to judge me. This is the one place on the internet where it's safe to just say what you're thinking with, and no one's going to jump on you and call you a name or anything. And that the more your parents know about you, the more they can help you. And it sometimes, at 12 or whatever, you start to sort of push your parents away to sort of figure out who you are. But then by the time you're 18, you need your parents again. And then in your 20s, if you start to build your life and stuff, you really need your mom is like the main person that you call, or your dad for advice and stuff. But there is that natural sort of pushing away period. But
it's not, that period isn't when your parents just happen to have no clue. Like they don't go, it's not them, it's the kids you're saying.
Yes.
The parents don't go through suddenly, like when you hit like 12 or 13, suddenly the parents are just like crazy.
Yeah.
They're
dipped in some sort of fluid that, just incapacitates their judgment and their wisdom. Are you just yawning, or you have a point?
I'm just yawning, sorry.
But does anyone want to talk about that period where you would really rather... See, it's like this. It's like when you're 14, the last thing you want is your mother commenting on a Facebook post. But like when you're 35...
It's still embarrassing. Still embarrassing.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I'm not yawning. So I was going to say a couple weeks ago, I was at my friend Matthew's house, and my dad posted on my Facebook wall. And I don't think he understands it. I know he doesn't understand it, but he kind of uses it like almost like text messages. Like he's like, "Hey, how's everything over there? Are you doing all right? XO, love you." And I'm like, "Oh, come on, Dad, really?" So it's not like that I don't want my dad around me. It's that I don't want my dad around me when I'm with my friends, type of thing. You know what I mean? Like if my dad sent me that text message, I would just respond without an issue. But now all my friends are looking at it. You know what I mean? And it's not like they really think of anything of it because they know their parents send them that in a text message and stuff like that. But there's something about it that I don't think really it's hard to understand, even for the person who's going through it, and in this case myself. But there's something about wanting to grow up on your own for a little while, especially like I guess it can relate to like when you're like 10 or 11 and you're starting to get like some more privileges, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm an adult now, and then something happens and you realize you're not, but you really want to just be on your own for some time. And it's kind of like that same idea that you want to grow up a little bit by yourself. And
do you wonder what Jake thinks?
I do wonder what Jake thinks. So Jake, tell me what you think.
This isn't quite on the topic of parents and all that stuff, but also it's mostly about social media and people not quite understanding how it works. My grandma thinks that everything I post, and even every single page I like, is me sending something to her. Every single one.
And things I post on your wall.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's thoroughly confused by him.
Yeah,
it's true. She'll say, "Why didn't I get that picture of Jake on my Facebook?" Like her Facebook is different than the rest of the world's Facebook. I think your Facebook is flawed, Mom. You should send it back.
What do you guys think about parents that know exactly how to use social media and sometimes use it to shame their kids that they think have crossed them or misbehaved? Like there's that one video of a guy who shot his daughter's computer with a gun because she disobeyed him. And there's other instances where where the parents will like hack in, well, not hack because they probably have the password, but get on the person's Facebook account and just let everybody know that person's grounded. Cool, not cool.
Right, guy?
I think to a certain extent it's all right. Like if you do something and you're grounded and your parents want to go on and be like, hey guys, Ryan won't be on Facebook for a while. He's grounded, sorry. Or just saying Ryan won't be on Facebook for a while. But anything more than that, when you're just announcing to the public what someone's done, you wouldn't get up on a podium like at the farmer's market or anything and be all like, Ryan's grounded for blah, blah, blah. So that social media is the same thing. It's a place where everyone can see it. And I just don't think it's right. But I don't know. What do you think, Keo?
I think that that kind of parent is already kind of doing that in general with friends.
Probably, yeah.
In life. Probably already happening, and I don't think it's really
shooting people's computers.
I mean,
I don't want that guy over.
Maybe doing it, but there's probably parents who do that, but they just don't know how to use the internet, so it doesn't get as much. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I was just gonna say that, like, even though those parents might be sharing with their other, like, adult friends, those kids, while they have some close friends on Facebook that they'd probably tell in person, like, there's also a lot of people who you aren't too close with, and you don't want knowing everything that you've done. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
when you put it on Facebook, then those people do know it.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that it's right for them to put it on
okay.
Facebook. I'm saying they're probably already doing things that are wrong in the first
yeah,
place, and
Or
it's
embarrassing to
just,
the
yeah,
kid.
embarrassing.
Yeah. See.
Go ahead, Sia.
Yeah.
Well, I think that if they're like, oh, you're grounded because you did so and so and so and so, I don't like that. But if they just say, hey, she's grounded, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think
Right.
it needs to be online at all.
I wouldn't mind if my mom grounded me. If that was her form of punishment, then I wouldn't mind everyone knowing I was grounded. I would just mind if she said she's grounded because she did this.
Right.
Yeah, I agree
That
with
would
that
really,
one.
especially if it was on my own Facebook. Like, I have my own picture telling me that I'm grounded because of what I did. That's horrible.
Right. If
You
you have
set
an
a
opinion,
mailbox on fire.
if you have an opinion,
Yeah,
give us a
let
call.
Let the world know. It's none of their
Exactly.
business.
888-531-7171. Also, I think, in the olden days before the internet, if the kid wet the bed, they would hang the sheets out the window. That was the version of posting that this kid is a bedwetter. So there's been some like horrible parental decisions made throughout history that have been like more embarrassing than posting on Facebook that your kid is grounded. We're going to move on to the next question. We talked about the update. Lacey writes, at night whenever my mom... Oh, this is really sad. So we need some serious advice about this. At night whenever my mom is drunk, I just lie awake in bed, staring at the door, waiting for her to come bursting in, yelling about anything and everything. So she posts as if this is a nightly occurrence, and she posts as if this is something that she should have to tolerate, like moms get drunk. And yes, certain moms do get drunk, but it's still extremely wrong. For any parent to be inebriated in the presence of a child is just wrong. It's not only bad parenting, it's neglectful, abusive parenting. And you should be calling a helpline. You should be telling a counselor at school. And if you click on the little telephone in the app, it brings up a list of helplines, and there's a organization called Al-Anon, and it's a national, I'm not sure if it's international, but it's a national organization for the children of alcoholics. So if you contact them, you will find out that you're not alone and that there is help out there for you, and you should not have to lie in bed. Any child should not have to lie in bed fearing a drunk mother's outbursts. That's just not okay, Ryan.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a really great idea. Make sure you're telling people because they can help you. But on top of that, if she's coming into your room and you know what's going to happen, the best thing you can do is just keep your cool, because when you start going, I'm not sure if you do, but if you start going back at it with her, she's not going to be calm enough and, sober enough to make a decision and, like, have a good conversation with you, and it's going to end up being something where she just gets more and more mad and it starts getting out of hand. And if you can just sit there and either just listen or just say okay or whatever it may be, and until it passes, until the next morning, if then you want to talk with her about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not talking to the mom, you're talking to the disease, you're talking to the alcohol.
Right, exactly.
And, Al-Anon and Alateen are for all family members of alcoholics. Alateen specifically for the children, Al-Anon for wives and other adult relatives. But yes, this is such a universal problem that these organizations have existed since probably the 30s when Bill W. invented Alcoholics Anonymous. So this is an interesting one. Her screen name is Beauty Lover, which to me means she's too obsessed with appearance. And then her question is, do guys like ugly girls? So... do guys like ugly girls? So it makes me feel like she feels like she's ugly, and of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and when you're a child, you're a work in progress, and you're not how you're going to look for the rest of your life, so you should be kind to the child you are, and just for a moment, like, jump into your future adult self and see this little kid who just wants to be appreciated, and you would be nice to that kid if you were your adult self for a moment, saying, you were too hard on yourself when you were young, and you just needed a chance to grow up into who you are. Go ahead, Keo.
Okay. Do guys like ugly girls? Yes. Because, like, for example, I had a friend, and I heard that he was going out with some girl.
It was you.
No.
I had a friend. Come on.
No, I had a friend, and I heard he was going out with some girl, and then and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, ugh, like that's girl, like that was my reaction, but they ended up like they were dated for like a year or two or something, and like he was happy with her, and it's like it depends on what their tastes are and what they're looking for. Also, it depends on what your definition of ugly is, because that doesn't necessarily mean just looks.
So if you want to go onto YouTube for a moment, and Howard can probably help us out with this one, but there is a song called "If You Want to Be Happy for the Rest of Your Life, Never Make a Pretty Woman Your Wife."
Yeah.
From my personal point of view, find an ugly girl to marry you. So it's specifically instructing people to marry ugly women because they will be more loyal. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, yeah, I was actually going to share a similar story to that, but also, I really do think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm like, if a guy likes you, they're not going to think you're ugly. So it's not like, do guys like ugly girls? It's, do guys who like girls think they're ugly? And the answer is no, because they like you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also, I don't like, just even though it's a very short question with very few words, I just don't like the word ugly. I don't think it exists because I don't think there are any ugly people. I think that, we've come up with terms to describe what we find attractive and what we don't find attractive in pretty or ugly or cute and ugly. But the word ugly is ugly, in my opinion, and everybody's beautiful, and you have to love yourself, and you are your personality, you are your spirit. Your body is just like
Wonderland.
Your body is a wonderland, exactly. And it's just one aspect. And it's, if you focus too much on it, then you're not letting your personality shine. If you're getting so trapped by how you feel about how you look, no one is getting to know actual you. What do you think, Laura? Because you've always been beautiful.
I have. Actually, no, I haven't. I looked like a boy until probably college. And that was
I looked like a boy,
that was
too.
embarrassing. But I will say this. I can say that a lot of the people that I thought were really attractive in high school went to a reunion and not that attractive. Conversely, some of the awkward people back in the day, way better looking as adults. And I'll go one step further and say that a lot of people that aren't conventionally attractive have to develop these things called personalities, whereas people that are considered really good looking don't necessarily have to develop a personality, and then their looks start to fade and they're left with nothing. Whereas kids that have had more of a challenge have to try more, and it makes them way more interesting people.
I love that. That is brilliant. Yes, Q.
Yeah, this is just something that, like, I've been around my older brothers who've been talking about women that they've dated, and they've said, like, this is one thing that my oldest brother has said, like, most of the pretty girls that he's dated have had the most issues with things and have been, like, the least enjoyable. So, I mean, I don't know if you said the least enjoyable, but
if you want to be happy for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead, Ryan.
I just want to say, like, if you are pretty, we're not, like, if you consider yourself pretty, we don't want to, like, put you down. Like, I just feel like some of the things we're saying might be a little bit, like...
Yeah. Quit harshing on
I
the
do want to
cuties.
put them down. I do want because they, they don't get it enough. So, pretty people, we are talking about.
I'm agreeing with everyone tonight. Go ahead.
Okay, you reminded me. I looked like a boy in second grade. I really want to share this because it was really cool. I showed a picture to my hairdresser who, moved to Maine without telling me, but whatever. So I showed a picture, and he was like, "Who's that boy?" And I was like, "That's me." And I was afraid to go in the girls' bathroom because of it, but I'm not anymore.
I looked like a boy until, I'm not sure, maybe yesterday?
I, too, have looked like a boy
Q?
for a very long time.
Q?
people used to think that I was a girl.
Really?
See? And so this
Because I had dreadlocks and it was long hair and baby face.
Well,
you still have a baby face.
Yeah, you still have a baby face.
But I don't think you're a girl.
Yeah.
All right, we love all people, and we don't like the word ugly. Okay, now we have a column called Ask Jenny, because Jenny is British, and British people just know things. So she answered a question from Broadway Girl. Hey, Jenny, I need your help. My best friend still has feelings for her ex-boyfriend. The problem is he is a jerk to her. She is such a kind person, and because of that, she keeps forgiving him. It sucks because all he wants from her is sex. How can I help her? All I want is for her to be happy. Please help me. Maddie?
So, I have a friend who, it's not that extreme, but she was, hold on, that's better. She was going out with a guy who just kind of kept like hurting her feelings and like, you know, was teasing her, but not like in a playful teasing way, like an aggressive kind of like trying to be mean way. And she kept telling me, you know, he's really hurting my feelings. And I was like, well, then, you know, do you want to break up with him? And she goes, no, because I still love him. And I'm like, okay. And kind of what ended up happening with that is she kind of just learned from her mistake. You know, so you can kind of, you know, just kind of ask them, so, you know, do you want to break up with him? You know, do you still want to be dating him? You know, what are your feelings about it? You know just like ask them a lot of how they're feeling, and sometimes that just helps them realize what they're doing and if that's
it helps
a good
them give
place
voice
for
to
them to be.
their feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, she's kind of like a little bit wrong about her assuming that it's because she's so nice. I think it's obviously because she's still really into this guy. But it's dangerous if he's using her for sex, because that's when really bad things can happen. And you should caution her, but you can't live her life, Ryan.
Yeah, that's an important part of it, is that you can't live her life. And so you can help her along in, like, you know, what Maddie was saying is you can ask her questions and help her understand what she's actually feeling and come to the bottom of what she should do. But there comes a point where sometimes, it's really hard to accept that even your closest friends sometimes, you got to let them figure things out on their own. And it's really hard to do. I'm not saying that's right in this case or wrong, but sometimes you're going to have to do that just in general. And if you don't feel that it's the right situation, then that's when you can start asking them to help them figure it out. But sometimes if you get too involved, that can make things worse.
Yeah, and I like what Maddie suggests, just like, you know, giving voice to her feelings. I say, how does this make you feel? Because sometimes just making someone say it out loud is helping them even realize it for the first time that, yeah, this is, you know, I am being used. Go ahead, Maddie.
And a lot of times the flaw with that plan is that then your friend will ask you, what do you think? What do you think I should do?
You can tell.
Yeah, and, well, I mean, you can. I think it also depends on how close you are with said person. But, I mean, also just kind of bring it back to them. Because, honestly, you know, you're, like you said, Weezy, you're not living their life. You know, they're going to make their decision no matter what you say.
I think, you know, you what you should try to do is refrain from calling him a jerk to her.
Exactly.
Because if she winds up back with him, she's going to be mad at you for saying negative things about the person she winds up marrying or something like that. But, you know, you can just say, like, you know, he's going to continuously be a challenge, this one, you know, and, you know, just use words that aren't as offensive as, like, calling him names. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, there's a possibility that there's some reason that she's staying with him, like I would ask her, why? What do you see in him? Why do you like him?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you don't know everything about him and all, like, what happens behind closed doors and everything. But you can't really force someone to accept your help. So,
yeah,
I mean,
and you can't make their choices for
Yeah.
them and stuff like that. All right, so we have a question from AriLan805. My friends are not talking to me, not calling me, not sitting with me on the bus, and ignoring me. What do I do? So that, you know, the first question is, do you think you did something to contribute to this, or are they just suddenly for no reason ganging up against you? Kyo?
I would talk to them, ask them what's happening, why they're doing that, because seems fairly obvious that they are doing that, and find new friends. I mean, it's not that hard of a thing to do.
What if she maybe owes somebody an apology and she's not telling them?
Well,
the
that's
story?
why you would ask them what's the problem, and
right.
then you
Maddie?
figure out.
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely ask what the problem is. And also, one time I was, you know, a friend and we were really close up until one day. It was literally one day, and I came back and she just completely, I was like, hi, and she just looked away from me. And I was like, what is going on? This continued for 2 weeks. And so eventually I approached her and I was like, look, what's going on? What did I do? And she's like, well, you did this and this and this. And it was somebody said something that about me that I didn't do.
Wow.
About her boyfriend.
Yeah, if you let it go for too
Yeah.
long, it's a complete,
exactly
falsification.
So Ryan,
and
what do you think?
Ryan?
Thanks for that throw, Maddie. No, so I was going to say that you want to figure it out with your friends, but it's sometimes like it on top. there's another option here, which is it could be you didn't do anything wrong and they didn't do anything wrong to avoid you, and it's just a misunderstanding. Because there have been plenty of times in my life where I think my friends are avoiding me, and then I ask them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we're not avoiding you. I don't know, we just haven't like." If they're, I don't know, my friends are really into Game of Thrones, and I'm not. So they're all talking about Game of Thrones, and I feel left out. And then I realize, wait a second, it's because I can't contribute to that conversation. It's not either of us doing anything wrong. It's just they're talking about something else, you know. And then if they want to talk sports, they come and talk with me, and it's just, you know, people do different things without each other all the time. But if you do feel like they're actually avoiding you, then it's time to talk to them.
Speaking of sports, have you guys seen 42?
Yeah, it was so good.
The greatest movie.
So good.
But it's really hard to Google.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just think you're looking for the number 42, not for the...
Well,
Go
they
ahead.
Or they think you're, well, I mean, they probably think that you're looking for the, you know, the
Life.
answer.
The
Yeah,
meaning of
yeah, the
life.
meaning of life.
meaning
and
of life.
everything.
Yeah.
Because that's the original 42.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm
Well,
looking
Jackie
for-
Robinson was the original 42.
Yeah, well, maybe Jackie Robinson
I
is the meaning of
disagree
life.
with you.
I
Have you ever
wouldn't
thought of it
disagree
that
with
way?
that.
I
I wouldn't
disagree
disagree
with
with
that.
that.
You disagree with that?
Yes.
Well, let me just say, the
Well, then
actor,
see the movie and then we'll talk. Go ahead.
the actor in that movie that played Jackie Robinson was phenomenal. That was
Did he look so much like Jackie Robinson? Oh my god! And he was like athletic too. Didn't you think so?
Meh.
No,
I mean, it's a movie.
he didn't look like he was really.
No, they really didn't show that much, you know.
I
he
mean-
kind of just stood there and twiddled his fingers.
He stole bases, Ryan, and he's.
They showed like a clip of his feet going to a base.
All right,
we don't
well,
even
he
know there
was
was
a really
him.
good actor, and also really handsome. Go ahead, Q.
He was a good actor. Though.
I'm not going to talk about that. I'm talking about the question.
Fine. Talk about
Focused.
me and Ryan just sometimes talk about sports, okay?
Yeah. I don't either. But I wanted to say that in any kind of relationship, I think, this is my theory anyway, whether it be romantic or just friends or whatever, being able to communicate honestly is one of the most important things to keep that relationship strong.
Yeah, so if you sense that something is up, rather than ignoring it or just kind of accepting it, I would say nip it in the butt by saying, is it nip it in the butt or in the bud?
Bud.
Nip it somewhere, and
It depends where you are. Context is everything.
context is everything. If we've learned nothing else tonight, just approach and one at a time. Because if you approach the whole group, they might like really that might be scary. But like one, just like, okay, what's up, you got? Like, what's up? Like, just because, do I need to fix something? Do I need to apologize? Just what's up? Rather than just suffering in silence. And then, just keep let everyone in your life know, I am willing to talk about this. Whatever, with whoever, as you said, Keo. And the phone lines are open. Give us a call at 888-531-7171. This is from a similar question from Mr. Rosebud number 1. It seems like my friends are keeping secrets from me. It's like they have a whole nother world on the bus, and my parents take me to and from school. Also, one of them will never let me have a turn to talk, but when I do, she always interrupts. So, have you ever been in a situation where, like,
What?
everyone is going to something? Laura just
Were
interrupted
people
me.
interrupted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's, like, going to something, and they have something in common, like they all do dance or whatever, and then, like, you try to talk, and they're like, you don't even go to dance, or you don't even ride the bus, so why are you
You don't even watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you don't even watch Game of Thrones. Exactly, good example. Go ahead, Sio.
Okay, so this was more of a practical joke thing that I did, so don't do it because it's kind of mean. But, like...
Howard's
No.
face says it all. Just
Nice
right-
disclaimer.
Okay, thank you. So I was with a group of friends, and there... This is really bad. There was the one person who... we told her it was a joke and said, oh, we're sorry, it was just a joke. It didn't make her feel that bad.
Okay.
But so we just said a bunch of random numbers, and we laughed after we said that number. Like, I could say 12, and then everyone would burst out laughing, and someone else could say 42. And then eventually they would catch on, and they'd say, oh, my God, 38, and everyone would just be like... And then we just keep going with the numbers, and whenever that person said a number, we just would not laugh. So, yeah.
That's like a really cruel social experiment. Go ahead, Ryan.
That reminded me of this thing in 6th grade. And my middle school, we had this thing. I don't remember. It's called intercession, right? And I don't remember why we did it. But it was 3 weeks where, like, we would mix, like, the 8th graders and 7th graders and 6th graders, and everything would get all jumbled up. And there was this kid, Thomas. And
Wait.
yeah,
Are you
Jake.
talking about Thomas Heisman?
Yeah, I am.
We all know Thomas.
So
Go ahead.
actually, the story is not too much about Thomas as it is everyone else, but we all came up with this huge, like, I don't even know how to explain it because it actually wasn't my group, but it was my brother's group, so he told me about it. So I shouldn't say we, but they came up with this like hand motion. I'm not sure if it was like supposed to be funny or like a handshake or something, but they wouldn't tell him what it meant. And so for 3 weeks, and this went on for all 3 weeks.
You did this to Thomas?
I didn't.
Okay.
And they still don't. He still doesn't know. But for
Jake,
3
did
weeks,
you do this to Thomas?
No, I never do anything to Thomas.
Okay,
that's a
ahead,
lie.
What? What have
Go
I
ahead,
done?
Ryan.
So no, you didn't do anything, Jake. So for like 3 weeks, they'd be like doing this hand motion. I don't know, something like that or something. I don't know. And they'd all crack up. Right? It was something that they all had a connection with, and he had no idea. And to this day, that was 5 years ago almost,
Right.
and they still haven't told him, and it still bothers him.
Okay, Thomas, if you're watching, it meant nothing, and it was just
Yeah, but I don't know.
it was just Quincy being Quincy.
Quincy. It was not actually Quincy.
It
to
wasn't
my knowledge.
Quincy?
But
How is that
could-
possible?
It was my brother.
It was your brother. Okay, nice. Any other practical jokes anyone want to
guys?
share,
Practical jokes.
or just something that made you feel excluded or made others feel excluded?
Well, I mean, there's times where you feel excluded because you don't know, like you don't like what he's saying with Game of Thrones. You have nothing in common with that. So
Right.
you shouldn't take that personally. It's just because you don't know about it or because you weren't there. It's
Also, just have the comfort to hang back and not talk
Right.
if it's the thing that you don't know about.
exactly.
Just listen. Yeah, go ahead, Maddie.
Okay, so it wasn't a joke as much as it was just like mean. So when I had a friend who was actually like my only friend in elementary school, and she moved to Australia for like 3 months, so I didn't have any friends. So I was just kind of like, I was looking for friends, and I made friends with this group of girls who was like, the popular clique, in elementary school, which is like nothing, but still, it was cool to be their friend. And so I was like, hey, can I meet you guys for lunch somewhere? And they're like, yeah, we'll be at, like on the benches over there. And I'd show up there and they wouldn't be there. And then they go, oh, okay, oh, sorry, yeah, we forgot to tell you, we changed. And they'd be telling me different places every time, and they'd be somewhere else every time.
Oh, I hate them so much.
And they never told me. Only my friend said, you know that they're avoiding you, right? Like,
Ouch.
you know that we see them somewhere else every time.
Ouch.
And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now.
Oh my
And to this
gosh,
day, I
that's-
still hate them.
That's such a good story.
And one of them lives rather close to Jake,
Are they-
actually.
oh, really?
Like literally across the street.
Really?
Yeah.
Jake, do you know who she's talking about?
No.
Oh, okay. Jake, do you ever go outside?
Why?
Why would I do that?
I've made you go outside before, Jake. I've made you go outside. We went backpacking this summer. I have pictures from it.
Oh, I know you guys.
Proof.
He had fun.
Evidence that he went
There's
outside.
video evidence that I've been outside.
I have video evidence that he's been
Jake
outside.
and sunlight in the same photograph.
Yeah.
Kyo.
Yeah, something like that. Not so deliberate happened to me where I had a group of friends and they decided to change where they were hanging out after school. Like it was like in between a year. Like we went to school and we hung out after school every day at a certain spot, and then the next year someone decided, let's hang out at this place now. And nobody told me. And like, yeah, I felt excluded, and I never felt like it made me not feel part of the group. So I went and found new friends. And like then that's what in junior year, 11th grade, I found new friends and we hung out every day at lunch. And then the senior year, they were like, now we got to find a new place to hang out. We're seniors now. And I was included in the conversation, and I felt included.
Awesome. You just have to keep and be persistent. Laura,
Yeah.
any similar stories from your childhood? Anything painful?
Well, yeah, being mistaken for a boy.
Right.
When I was on a train.
Sorry, sir.
Oh, I used to have when I was in middle school. I used a curling iron to like straighten out my hair, and so I'd always like comb it. And there was this one girl who every time she saw me would just go like this in front of my face because she was just mimicking me, but to my face.
I know. What's
humiliating?
that? That's not.
Yeah, that was mean.
Maddie?
So I have a semi-solution for the question asker. So the last sentence is also one of them will never let me have a turn to talk, but when I do, she always interrupts. So my idea is that when she's talking, you interrupt her and say, "Why are you always interrupting me?" And interrupt her with that sentence.
Ooh, you mean like what Laura did to me?
No?
Don't,
Why not?
Don't return fire?
I'm gonna have to say no to that one. I think that it always backfires when you do that to someone, because I have a habit of interrupting people because I talk a lot and I have no filter, which I could work on, and I do work on. But if someone interrupted me and said, "Why are you always interrupting me?" I'd take it like defensively, because I'm not always trying to interrupt them. And all of a sudden, like, "Whoa, what did I do? I'm sorry. You know what I mean? So. Well, but if someone, it can feel intentional. People might feel like I'm intentionally interrupting them, but I'm not. And so it can come across different ways, and I would get on the defensive end where I'm like, "I'm sorry, I just have a habit." Everyone has their habits, and some
Ryan,
more annoying than others.
Not to interrupt, but do you wonder how Jake feels about this?
Not really. Yes, I wonder how Jake feels.
Okay, when they interrupt you, just turn and look at them and stare at them. And just move your head closer and closer and closer until you're literally just pressing up at their face, and then they have to stop talking. And then you just continue with your sentence right where you left off, right where they interrupted you.
Or you start making out.
Have you?
That could backfire.
Or that.
Depending.
Jake, have you ever actually done that?
No, I don't allow people to interrupt me.
I interrupt you on a regular basis.
I hit you.
That's true.
Ryan, do you wonder how Keo feels?
Yeah, I actually do.
I don't get interrupted a lot, but when I do,
Is it because you're tall?
I don't know. I don't know why, but
Because you're scary.
maybe. But I think the best way if somebody interrupts you is to catch it right when they interrupt you, because like when they interrupt you, you say, "You just interrupted me," because sometimes they don't realize. Sometimes you can interrupt somebody and not. I know I interrupt people when I'm arguing.
Or just excited or eager to talk.
Eager to talk.
I interrupt my husband, and then I get mad when he interrupts me, so it's not really fair how I am.
Yeah.
Jakey, and then back to Seo.
During the sentence Keo just said about not getting interrupted, he was interrupted twice.
Excellent. Could you keep stats for the rest of the season?
I still got across my point.
And how many people are in the room trying to have one conversation? I think we do pretty well. Give it up for ourselves. Yes. Yes. Seo.
Okay, when people interrupt me, I give them, it's not like I let it go. Like, I keep talking, but I change the subject to, "You just interrupted me. Are you not interested in what I was trying to say?" Because if you're not interested, you should really tell me instead of just interrupting me.
That's very passive-aggressive.
It really is.
Or just
it's really
aggressive-aggressive.
bad. No. Yeah.
It's just on the nose
It's
aggressive.
a bad thing.
She doesn't? Okay.
I interrupt people, though, and I don't mean to.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have a habit
I
of that.
interrupt him sometimes.
Well,
He always tells me not to. So.
Just in hosting the show, I kind of have to interrupt, and so I always feel bad about it. But do you wonder what Ryan thinks?
I wonder, yeah.
I wonder, yeah. No, yeah, in speech and debate class last year, or yes, it was this year, last trimester, I had this thing where when I'd be debating, and I thought I could really well counter someone's point, it was so hard for me to wait for them to make all their other points and then go back and counter that first one. So if I'm not graded on it, if I'm just talking sports to someone and they say something, I'll just interrupt them and tell them why it's wrong. Not great to do, but it's really hard to wait until someone finishes a whole story if you have something to say about something in the beginning. Like when we get a caller, sometimes they want to talk about question number 1, and they have to wait till we're done with 3 questions to actually say something. Like it happened today. When people wanted to talk about the dog name, but we were already in the next question. It's tough sometimes.
Yes.
And it doesn't always, go right. But Maddie, what is it that you're thinking of?
I will tell you what it is that I'm thinking of. Actually, I just remembered a really funny moment where I was in an argument with my brother. We get into a lot of fights, and I was a little bit younger, so the arguments were a little bit different. But I forgot what it was about, and we were sitting at the dinner table, and I was talking, and he interrupted me, and I said, "Excuse me, I'm still talking. Can you not see I'm still talking?" And my parents started laughing, and I got so pissed at them because I was angry. And it was, I just remember really funny. I was, excuse me.
It was probably very adorable.
Just imagine like tiny little me.
Well, I did, and I witnessed it quite frequently, and it was the Plankers still talk about things that you said when you were little.
I'm a
she
little
started
worried.
talking when she was like 8 months old, and it was kind of like, why is this baby talking? It was a little frightening. Keo.
Sorry to frighten you.
I think there's a difference between when you're talking to like someone you know well too, because like if it's my friend and he, for one, I'll let him interrupt me because if I'm still getting across my point. But it gets to a certain breaking point where I'll tell him, shut up, I'm talking, stop interrupting me. But that's because it's my friend.
Right.
So there's certain ways you need to be polite, but in this it's with friends. So hopefully you don't need to be too polite. I don't suggest you say shut up, but I mean,
right. Don't say shut up. It never comes across right. In fact, Jake used to think it was a curse word because we told him it was. One of the things that happened when I'm walking with my husband, like he'll suddenly want to show me some feature of a house when we're on a walk because he's just like, and he'll say that I'm interrupting you because if we had kept walking, I wouldn't be able to show you this house because we had walked past it. Yeah. And I'm always saying to him, but it makes me feel like you weren't even aware that I was speaking at all. So if you could just preface it with something like hold that thought or bookmark that, just so that I'm like you've acknowledged that. Oh yes, you are speaking. I'm cognizant of that. But look at that roof.
Usually that when you're arguing, that turns into hold up.
Hold up.
Then you say what you want to.
Anything like that at least says, hey, I'm about to interrupt you and I'm aware of it. Seems a little bit more civil than just I'm talking now mid-word. Go ahead, Ryan.
2 more quick things. The first of those being one other way you can manipulate the situation to get your point across. When they interrupt you, keep talking, and they'll stop talking.
It's hard to do.
Like it's really hard to do, but if you can train yourself to do it, it's like the most flawless defense mechanism.
If you're ever like a reporter in the pool room after a game or something, that will be a good quality to have because you've got to just power through to get your question in.
That's what the girl who's always calling on the phone does when you try to say something.
Oh, it's really
Animagus.
Yeah.
Everyone
really
can learn from
that.
Animagus. But the one other thing I was going to say.
Yes.
Sorry to draw this out. What Keo was saying about how he'll, like, if it's his friend, he'll just be like, shut up. Like, I don't know if girls do this. I really just don't know. But me and Jake and me and my guy friends, we exchanged some pretty harsh language that would offend most people. And yet it just brings us closer. I don't really get it. Don't get it. But, like, when you're really close with someone, you can say just about anything you want to them.
Yeah, it's sort of like the verbal, sparring kind of thing that's just like boys with rough housing verbally. Bree 7373 writes, am I a bad person because I've turned 3 guys down in a week? I feel bad. I do want a boyfriend to cuddle with and all the cute couples you see on Tumblr. I wish, but I feel my heart is going to be broken if I date them. I really feel bad, though. Everyone might think I said no to be a blah. I don't know if she means B word. Please answer. Thanks, guys. Lots of love. Bree. And I have some opinions about this, but we're going to throw it to panel. Go ahead, Ryan.
Howdy. All right. So, I said howdy. No. So, the first red flag. Well, no, I'll get to that next. The thing I wanted to say first was, no, you're not a bad person because you turned three people down. Like, it'd be bad to, if you said yes to someone you didn't want to date, that'd be like extremely leading them on. I mean, that's like beyond leading them on.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be bad for you.
That's
It'd be bad for them. And yeah, it's mean to do it that way. And then also, like, you should never have to put your to harm yourself in the sense of going out with someone you don't want to go out with because they asked you.
Yeah, you're not obligated to go out with someone. You're not even obligated to dance with someone who asks you to dance.
Exactly.
Let alone, date someone.
Now, sometimes dancing can be nicer because it doesn't restrict you, like you're not in a relationship that's different, But the other thing, the second red flag for me, Tumblr.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
No. I mean, like, all those pictures, no. Like, all those pictures that are like when he stares into your eyes like that, it shows like the faded picture. Like, I follow all these pages on Facebook that post like other pictures below it. So, and like one of them was like, the guy in the Guinness Book of World Records who can like pop his eyes out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like so when he stares into your eyes like that and they showed a picture of that guy and it's like, it just like pokes all the fun at like why none of those things are realistic and like none of that stuff happens with anyone. And Tumblr is, it's nice, but don't judge anything based
Yeah,
off of it. I
you
don't know.
cannot base your own life by any image you see on Tumblr because it's meant to be a fantasy land of Dreamville.
Yeah, but Q.
Go ahead, Q.
I agree. I don't think you should feel bad for turning anyone down if you don't feel anything for them. That's what you should do. But I don't know if I agree with, or I don't know if I think it's the best for the reason that you're turning them down is because you're afraid to get your heart broken. Depends on what the reason is, but then that might mean you're afraid to go out with anyone in general.
It just seems like your feelings at the moment are extremely confused, which means it's
Right.
not time to date anybody yet.
Right.
When you're falling in love, you will say yes because you want to be with that one person, and you'll be willing to take the risk that it won't work out, but you will learn something from being together
Exactly.
for the time. I'm sorry, we don't have time for your thought yet, Ryan. Save it for next week. But when you're ready for love, you will be willing to take the risk because life is about risk, and if you don't take any risks, nothing cool ever happens. Isn't that right, Laura Swisher?
That's absolutely correct.
Absolutely correct. We will see you next time. Goodbye. We're Our Place Out Loud.
It's coming. It's coming.